Hey, it's your bookhound here. I hope you're having a great day. And this review is of The Russian by James Patterson and James O. Bourne. But first, if you like what you see here, I hope you'll hit subscribe. We got lots of great reviews coming at you every week with special offers and all kinds of cool stuff. And we'd love to have you with us. So anyway, The Russian is an installment in a series of books featuring Michael Bennett, who is one of New York City's top homicide detectives, and he's a real character, as you could imagine a series like this being about. He's a tough, no bullshit kind of cop, New York cop, very tough, doesn't take any crap from anybody, does things his way, and he's got 10 children from his first marriage. Unfortunately, his first wife died, and his new wife has happily taken on raising of 10 children, which starts to make you think that maybe you're involved in some kind of fantasy. And it all seems to go really well. And having, been a parent to a much smaller family, it's sort of, you read it and like, wow, this is just amazing. The guy's got 10 children with a stepmother, and everything's just incredibly amazingly great. With a few exceptions, one of his kids having problems and acting out, and there's even maybe some suspicion that his kid is involved in some crime, but it all kind of works out. But anyway, at the start of this book, uh, Bennett is breaking in a new partner named Hollis, who's much younger, and it's totally unclear whether Hollis is going to work out. And in fact, at the very opening of the book, Hollis manages to break his nose by running into a pipe while they're chasing a suspect. So it's kind of not a very auspicious start. But Hollis very quickly starts to show that he actually has the makings of a very fine police officer. And they're going to need that skill because there's a really gruesome series of murders going on in the city. Probably the work of a serial killer, with young women being targeted and horribly mutilated, which is, it's pretty intense. But the authors want to rope you into the drama. It looks like a serial killer, so the FBI wants to get involved, but of course Bennett's not having that because he's kind of a tough, no bullshit New York cop kind of guy, and you wouldn't expect a tough, no bullshit New York cop kind of guy to have anything to do with the FBI and all their stuff. So that's going on. And meanwhile, so they're solving the mystery while he's dealing with his new partner and his 10 children. And this is what I have to say about this book. I really try not to give bad reviews. I really feel like, as I'm also an author, people put a lot of work into a book. It's really horrible when a reviewer trashes it. What I will say, though, is that the book is a little flat. And I understand that in the middle of a series, especially for an author like James Patterson, the writing is not going to be quite as snappy as in the first part of a series. People kind of know the character. There's some sort of kind of shorthand, like, okay, what his home life is like, what his personality is like. That's all fine. But the book is, to be honest, is really not that well written. And I was surprised. I really expected better of James Patterson and his co-authors. I mean, the people he works with are usually very, very, fine writers in themselves, but you still have like these sentences that are like, she was the tops at the FBI, or, they were looking for a needle in a haystack. And I'm like, really? A needle in a haystack? Like, that's what you can come up with? I was just a little disappointed. Anyway, but otherwise, it's a pretty engaging read. There is also like a weird non sequitur very late in the book. Like, the book is called The Russian, and you don't really understand why it's called The Russian until like page 350. It's just stuff like that that makes you think like, maybe you could skip this one. Um, but anyway, if you happen to see it at the bookstore like I did, it's the kind of book you see at the airport. Maybe check it out. It'll keep you engrossed for a couple of hours.